The day after tomorrow, we'll have the presidential election along with the election of the Senate and the House. Today, in one of the rally, I heard people shouting to President Trump, "We love you." I would like to express my thoughts and feeling about this president of ours. Before Donald Trump ran for president, I wasn't impressed with him. I read one of his books and I saw him on the news every now and then. For me, he was too much of a Hollywood type, the type who liked to talk about himself, who liked to be famous, and I associate him with all of those parties, uh, glamorous life, and Miss Universe, Miss America. I wonder why the media was so crazy about him. I wasn't impressed with his show You Are Fired either. When he ran for the nomination of the Republican Party, I thought it was another way he tried to attract attention on himself. Uh, I didn't think that he could win the nomination because there were so many seasoned politicians competing for the nomination of the party. When he was nominated, I was shocked. The media said that the Republican Party was hijacked by him, an outsider, and I agreed. But I couldn't vote for Mrs. Hillary Clinton because I am a Republican. I cannot accept the platform of the Democratic Party. And if the majority of my party chose Donald Trump, I had to support him. And I was shocked that he won the presidency. Upon Mr. Trump's victory, Mr. Paul Ryan, the Republican Speaker of the House, congratulated him by saying that Mr. Donald Trump has heard voice from the people that nobody could hear, and he provided a kind of coattail that got a lot of Republicans over the finish line, so that we had the House and the Senate. That was a very mature attitude from a young congressman, and I agreed with that statement. Of course, I was happy that the Republican Party won, and we have a Republican president in the White House, even though I didn't know how Mr. Trump will lead the country. I was disappointed that we could not abolish Obamacare and replace it with something better, fairer, especially for myself. My health insurance premium doubled the day Obamacare kicked in, and I thought that a Republican victory will free me of that injustice. But I did not blame Mr. Trump. It was John McCain's fault that we couldn't do it. But then the economy was good, uh, and I got my tax break, and also um, everything was good, was nice. And Mr. Trump, even though he picked on some of the fight that didn't need to be fought, um, sometimes he behaved and said things that I did not agree with. But when he represent us overseas, it was completely different. I was very proud of the United States and very proud of him when he when visit other country and interact with other people, other leaders. Facing the world, he is firm and decisive when it comes to protecting the interest of the United States. In domestic affairs, unlike the other Republicans, he does not back off when attacked by the press. Sometimes he even doubled down, and he did not care about being politically correct. That is what I like the most about him. But being president, he had more opportunity to speak and interact with the public, and I paid more attention to his speech, and I could see that he loved America. He has a big heart. He is not the type of man who say nice thing, who say bleeding heart things, but I can see that he had a genuine love for America, for the American people. When he talked to his supporters, he talked like a real man who speaks to his friends, to his family, to his neighbors every day, not a president who stood up in front of the mass and make speech. I think that's why a lot of people sleeping in the cold, uh, in the tent for a day or two just to wait to come in and be with him and hear him speak. During this pandemic, I think that he has done everything that could be done, and I think that he was very efficient. In New York, they will talk about who can have the ventilator, but it never came to the point where anybody died for not having ventilator. And he speed up the approval of vaccine. I think that it's unfair to say that the United States have one of the highest number of deaths of COVID. I think it has to do with the way we count the death. A lot of the majority of the death, I think it's about 94%, people die with other cause, and they just happen to test positive to COVID, and we count as a COVID death. Other country don't count that way, and country that doesn't have the kind of transparency that we have, we don't know how many people die from COVID. The third world country They don't test as much as we test. We don't know how many people die of COVID. And we have to listen to scientists, we have listened to doctors, and I think that our president did that. But a leader of a country is not a doctor. And we know that if we just lock down the nation until we have the vaccine, then we can limit the number of deaths. But the leader of the country has to balance between uh, fighting COVID and preserving the economy of the nation, the livelihood of the nation. We know that majority of people who has to be hospitalized are people who has health problem and or people who are real old. So I think it makes sense that we protect our elderly, our sick, have them stay at home, while the rest of the nation has to come out and work and live a normal life with precaution. I think that is his plan, and I agree with that. During this pandemic, uh, I thank the president with his leadership. My income is steady. I live on uh, renting property to 12 families, and they all uh, pay their rent on time. For me, that means that he has to um, handle the economy in the exceptional way. I hope that he will win the re-election so that we can still have the economy and we will have the vaccine in a few months for everybody and we can resume our normal life. It is believed by a lot of people that the minority don't support President Trump because he is racist. I don't know why he is accused of being racist. I don't see any sign, any proof that he is racist. And the Vietnamese community support him very ardently. They are rally for him in all of the cities where there is a large communities of Vietnamese. I have nothing against Mr. Biden. I think that he is not an extremist. He is very centrist, but he doesn't have the willpower. The problem is not him. The problem is that if he wins, the extreme left will take over. And my family and I have ran away from a communist country. We know what communism means. We know how the communists at the beginning calling themselves socialists promise all kind of free thing to everybody. And then what happened at the end? They make everybody depend on the government and you are at the mercy of the government. I hope that the president will win the re-election. I am grateful that the president have left behind a very good, successful life with good business, a good family, nice children, a glamorous life to come to the White House and assume the most difficult, the most stressful job to serve the nation, along with all of his supporters. I would like to say that I love the president.